Perfect. Right, there's probably still a couple more people joining, but I think we'll get started. So hello everyone, my name is Ellie and I will be your host for this evening. So we're super excited to have Google with us tonight, who are here to talk you through everything that you need to know about apprenticeships, their current vacancies, the application process, and some myth busting around choosing university over apprenticeships. So we're going to hear from Hamish, who is the apprenticeship lead at Google, and a couple of current apprentices, Connor, Natalie, and Rebecca, a little bit later on. So just before I do pass over to Hamish, there's just a couple of things from me. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, then please pop them in the chat box, because we will be doing a live Q&A for the last 15 minutes or so of this webinar, where we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. And this webinar will also be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel afterwards, so that you can watch it as many times as you like. But that is everything from me. So Hamish, over to you.
Fab, thanks so much, Ellie. And it's an absolute joy to be here. So yeah, welcome everyone. Just a really quick agenda of, as Ellie already said, so you're going to have kind of the introduction and presentation from me, and I'm going to go through kind of apprenticeships overall, and then specifically apprenticeships at Google, and then I'll hand over to three of our fabulous apprentices who will talk to you about their experience on our programs. So yeah. So brief introduction. I'm Hamish. I'm a UK apprenticeships program coordinator at Google. So I support our program lead James with making the magic happen with the apprenticeships, making sure everything runs smoothly, everything's looked at, we kind of understand everything that's happening, and you guys have, as apprentices, have a great experience. So into the important bit, what are apprenticeships? So apprenticeships have kind of 5 main levels. Intermediate, level 2, which is equivalent to about GCSEs. Advanced, which is level 3, which is A level, and then you've got higher, which is levels 4, 5, 6, and 7, which is a foundation degree or above, and then you've got degree apprenticeships, which are levels 6 and 7, which is equivalent to a bachelor's degree or a master's degree at that level 7. So those are the different levels and what the different kind of school grading equivalent would be. We'll revisit some of these levels later on when we talk about the level of our apprenticeships here at Google as well. So bear in mind what they're equivalent to as well. There's loads of different types of apprenticeships. So there's over 600 different apprenticeship standards in the UK. What does 600 standards mean? Essentially, standards are developed to match different job roles within the UK, and they're built by employers and experts in their field to really make sure that the skills apprenticeships deliver are really what is needed in the industry. The standard outlines what an apprentice will be doing and the skills required of them. Along with this, apprenticeships also run on a 20/80 model. So you'll spend 20% of your time doing your apprenticeship work, whether that's in workshops, shadowing, mentoring, coursework, whatever that apprenticeship looks like. And then you'll spend the other 80% of the time actually working. So you'll be part of a team, you'll be working on projects, you'll be given tasks to complete, and you'll kind of really put all that theoretical knowledge that you learn in the 20% of the time into practice in that 80% of the time. Some of the most popular apprenticeships are in business administration, engineering, and IT. So yeah, some really cool fields in there. And then apprenticeships at Google. I think this is probably what a lot of you want to hear about. So yeah, let's crack on. Apprenticeships at Google. So we view apprenticeships as a program that supports local community investment and help contribute towards the development of digital skills through opportunities of work and study. So we treat apprenticeships differently to most organizations. Most organizations are looking to hire apprentices, bring them into the organization, continue to develop them, and kind of feed them into their organization. We're not doing that. What we've realized that the world of technology is ever changing, and as a big technology company, we have a role and a responsibility to make sure that young people have the skills and knowledge and experience required to go into the technology fields. and we utilize our apprenticeships to do this. So a really, really exciting opportunity for our apprentices, and yeah, really can't wait to see what they do. So a bit of background about apprenticeships at Google. We launched in the UK in 2017 with 6 apprentices in software engineering, and we very quickly expanded into launch tracks in digital marketing with 15 apprentices, and in IT in the same year in 2018 with 8 apprentices. Our 2023 cohort was made up of a total of 51 apprentices across digital business and software development. Applications typically open in February for a September or October start time. And again, we see apprenticeships as a learning and development opportunity. It's about you guys coming in, learning from the people who work here, learning from our training providers, developing yourselves to then go out into the industry and share that knowledge and experience and secure meaningful roles. So our digital business apprenticeship program, it's 15 months. It starts in October every year. It's a level 3 apprenticeship qualification. So if you think back to what I covered off earlier, that's equivalent to kind of A levels. Our training provider is with Multiverse and it's based in London. A lot of people go to kind of the apprenticeship route because there's not, for example, in digital business, there's not really a degree in that. Our digital business apprenticeship sits within our marketing and sales function as well. So when you think about digital marketing, there's not really a degree that just focuses on digital marketing. So this is why we built this program and why this program exists. And some of our apprentices have done some really amazing things whilst they've been here for the 15 months. We've had people that started Google's Pixel Superfans. So I'm not sure if any of you follow Google UK or kind of see what we get up to, but we've launched a Superfans program for people who love our Pixel products. And that was actually started in the UK and led on by one of our apprentices. And then that got rolled out across America, the rest of EMEA, and into APAC as well, so Asia Pacific. And then they've also done events with YouTube Shorts, YouTube content creators, Chromebooks, as well as working with some of our clients. So they've worked with some of our big name clients to really maximize their strategy. And then we also run a higher level apprenticeship in software development. So that's a 2-year program and it starts in September of every year. It's a level 4 apprenticeship qualification. So if you, again, remember back to earlier, that's about a foundation degree equivalent. Our training provider is Makers Academy and you get a 4-month launchpad training. So that's 4 months of training in coding and all the skills to be a software developer. And then you come in to join us in Google, and then you are based in London as well. So our software engineering program is just different from our kind of digital business one because there's different needs, the standards are different and everything like that. And we've had apprentices work across teams such as our Fitbit team, our Google Maps team, and our Android platform teams as well. So they get involved with some pretty cool things. I've heard some of them talk about the stuff that they do, not in detail because I'm not a software person, unfortunately, but high level what they've been doing, and it's really, really fascinating. So if you are interested in any of our opportunities, how to apply, you visit careers.google.com to find the best roles for you. You upload your documents. And what do we mean when we talk about documents? We're talking about CV, cover letter, outlining your motivation to apply for an apprenticeship at Google, and then you click submit. The other site that I would recommend you check out if you're interested in apprenticeships to Google is buildyourfuture.withgoogle.com. And there you'll find kind of our apprenticeship programs, what they're all about, and you'll find everything related to that. So we look for a few different things across our process. We obviously the first thing is an online review, so someone will review your application pack, and then we'll have a first stage phone interview, which is just a screen with our recruiter where they'll get to know you, understand a little bit more about you, your motivations, and it's a real chance for you to kind of ask questions and gain clarity. And then we have our virtual on-site interviews, so we still interview remotely, so it will be over a kind of probably a Google Meet, to be completely honest with you, because we love our products. And there's 4 different on-site interviews. There's general cognitive ability, which is looking at problem solving. There's our role related knowledge, which is looking about your knowledge for the role. That's not to say that we're expecting you to have the knowledge of the role that you're applying to do, but we want to see that you have a kind of an understanding of what this program is, what it will entail, and you're able to show that passion for the specific program that you're applying for. Leadership, so times that you've led on projects, you've led school groups, you've led things within your life. And then googliness, how well do you work with other people, how do you get on with people, how do you navigate sometimes difficult conversations? And then you go, like, once you've got through all of those and things are looking hopefully positive for you, we go to our committee reviews. So we have committees that review everyone, and then if you're successful, then you'll receive an offer from us. So that's kind of our hiring process. If you want more information, as I mentioned, go and check out careers.google.com. That'll have all the top tips and tricks for applying at Google, interviewing, what to expect, and there are pages and pages and pages of information on there. That's a really, really good place to check out. And then I want to cover off some facts, some information, and just in general bits and pieces about apprenticeships at Google. So who does an apprenticeship at Google? Well, there's this blend of person that we typically find ends up on our program, and I'm sure our apprentices who will be speaking in a bit can talk to that. So typically it's school leavers. It's people who join either straight from school or perhaps after taking a gap year or a couple of gap years to decide what they want to do. These individuals usually prefer practical learning, hands-on learning, as opposed to theoretical learning. Additionally, they have a passion for the digital world that perhaps wouldn't be fulfilled at university. You really want to get into the heart of technology from day one and just get thrown into the working world of tech. Those that pursue a software engineering apprenticeship are keen coders and programmers, sometimes studying computer science, math, and/or physics at A-level, and enjoy coding or building apps in their own time. They feel they would ultimately rather learn about software engineering doing the job rather than going to university to study it. And then, what does an apprentice do at Google? As we mentioned, there's the 80-20 split. So 80% of your time will be spent working for Google, doing projects, getting involved with everything that Google has to offer. And then 20% of your time will be with our training provider. As mentioned, you'll be part of an actual team working on actual projects. And we have so many different teams, it's very hard to give you an individual idea. But as mentioned, for our software engineers, you'll be coding and working on our products and building new features, patches, and all sorts of things like this for them. And then for our digital business program, you'll be either in our marketing or sales function. And if you're in our marketing function, you'll be marketing our products and services. And if you're in our sales teams, we'll be working with our clients to help them maximize the value that they get out of our products and services. You'll be treated very much as a real employee, and you'll be fully embedded into your team. We've had people go to team socials all over the world. That is very team dependent. That is not a guarantee. At any point in the program, you aren't guaranteed business travel at all. But there are a lucky few that do get to do that. So I'm a little bit jealous sometimes. And then post-apprenticeship. So 90% of our apprentices secure roles in digital and tech. And since we launched our digital marketing apprenticeship program in 2018, we have had almost 100 apprentices spend time working at Google, with another 33 that completed on Friday, and 40 started with us last October. Out of the over 100 that have finished, as I mentioned, 90% have secured roles in digital tech sector. They're working for companies like Sky, Levi's, LinkedIn, Samsung, marketing and advertising agencies, as well as some of them joining Google on permanent roles. So why do we do apprenticeships? Well, for us, we gain access to young talent, and we get to hear from that young talent why they like our products, why they don't like our products, why they're using competitors, and we get all this information out of them, which is that piece about new perspectives. They sometimes challenge the way that we do things, because you guys have a completely fresh set of eyes, and that's amazing. We get to support the next generation. every single manager that I speak to at Google loves having an apprentice in their team because they love the opportunity to help young people grow and shine and really kind of stretch them and grow them to their potential. And they absolutely love doing that. And then we also develop better products because we get challenged to think about the way that we do things. So yeah, those are the benefits we get, and we really enjoy having apprentices. And then benefits to the apprentice: you get to learn new non-technical skills. People don't always talk about soft skills, but you'll learn from some really experienced people some amazing non-technical skills. You'll also develop the technical knowledge on the apprenticeship program as well. It can massively improve future job prospects. We've seen that with our apprentices and where they go. And lastly, you get to earn while you learn as well. So it's a really great opportunity for you guys as well as us. And then finally, I kind of want to take some time to myth bust universities versus apprenticeships. Things that we hear kind of a lot of people ask is like, well, won't I miss out on having fun / a social life? Absolutely not. We run social events for our apprentices every 3 months. That is kind of something that we do, and it's a really core part of this program because we want you guys to build a network with each other and support each other. It's harder to get a full-time job without a degree. Well, it's definitely not, because we hire people out of the apprenticeship program. They go to massive companies like LinkedIn, Levi's, Samsung, Sky. They've gone to places like Superdrug. They've gone to loads of household names as well. And then you get to meet other people the same age as you. So you still get to meet people that are like-minded, that are kind of wanting to develop themselves and push their lives in a direction in the same way that you do. And that can be really powerful. So that's everything that I had to cover off. I will stick around for the questions at the end, so don't worry if there are questions, I can kind of get them at the end. But I'm going to hand over to Connor, who's one of our apprentices. So I'll stop sharing my screen and then, yeah, hand on over to Connor.
Hi everyone, I'm Connor. I'm a digital business apprentice at Google, and I'm doing the level 3 apprenticeship, so equivalent to A-levels. I want to talk a bit about my journey and what got me here, and a bit about like kind of the application process for me. And so I started off in sixth form doing a BTEC level 3 national extended diploma in business. So I scored 3 distinctions, so equivalent to 3 A's in that. And I went on and applied to university. I applied to criminology, which is very different. And I found that it was not for me. So a lot of people end up in this situation where they'll either carry on or they'll kind of decide when to call it quits. And I decided to call it quits and just kind of stop myself from getting into any more debt and look for an alternative career path. So I knew that Google did apprenticeships, and I wasn't just keeping an eye out for Google apprenticeships in general, although I knew that that is what I wanted to get into. So I applied for the apprenticeship program maybe about a year after dropping out, and went through the whole screening process, had a call with our training provider, and kind of went through that route. Whereas I know a lot of other apprentices found it on like the Multiverse site or on other pages. Now for me, doing an apprenticeship means that I can earn while I learn. I can make very valuable connections in the corporate world, which I wasn't doing at university. And from those that I lived with at university as well, a lot of them kind of came out of university, and some of them still kind of work 3 jobs in hospitality, which there's no shame in it. But to have the perspective of someone that dropped out of university, this is just kind of clearing up any stigmas. And in the corporate world is a very big thing. And the other thing that I want to say as well is with apprenticeships, you already have those connections in the corporate world, whereas every year of when you come out of university, they're pushing out like thousands of students with like very prestigious qualifications but no experience, and that's what a lot of jobs are looking for these days, is the experience. So if I go on to talk about what kind of to expect in an apprenticeship, is you'll kind of, depending on which one you do, I work with a lot of data, which is a great thing. It means that I'm prepared to kind of go into any role after this and kind of know what to expect in terms of confidentiality and how to handle it and how to kind of like clean up data sets. And also the amount of people that you meet in an apprenticeship. So I know that when I started looking for apprenticeships, I thought that there wouldn't be as many apprentices as there actually are. So I kind of thought, oh, but what if I'd be a bit lonely, as opposed to how I was in university, meeting people constantly and stuff. But no, there's maybe about 40, 50 other apprentices in my cohort. So I still have that social life. I kind of see them all on a regular basis, work with them, and obviously Hamish will like organize socials for us every 3 months, but that's not to say that you can't then go and kind of organize your own socials with them. So yeah, it's a good balance of working and learning and also hanging out with the people that you'll meet. And also it gives you a really great structure into like how you work. So with an apprenticeship, you have a lot of support from your training provider as well as the apprentice team at Google. So you kind of, if you get stuck, you have a lot of places to turn to. And I know that with apprenticeships, a lot of people could think when they go into them that they're kind of expected to know everything, which you're not. Your team are very kind of accepting if you don't know much, and obviously they push you to learn more. And for example, my manager will schedule weekly one-to-ones in with me, make sure that if there's anything I don't understand or that I don't know, then that gets covered, and that obviously helps with my apprenticeship work. And you kind of get given time to work on your apprenticeship work as opposed to learning, which is also a big thing. So obviously you can do it within your working hours, you can do it without, it's just your preference really about when you do your work. But yeah, so you're given kind of all the time you need to get your studies done and in order, and it's a lot of coursework, but you're also given the structure, and like your coach will help you how to kind of manage that. And yeah, and so with my application process, I'll just go over it very briefly. It's just what Hamish mentioned. I applied. It took a couple of months for them to actually get back to me to say that I had the job, but there was a lot going on within that period. So I had my screening call, then I had my screening call with the apprenticeship provider to make sure that I was eligible. And then I went on to do the interviews. Now, I don't want to really talk too much about the interviews, but yeah, it was a cognitive ability. And then there was googliness and obviously role related knowledge. And then after that, there was a questionnaire, and then you go on to kind of getting prepared for your role once you find out that you get it and stuff. But that's all from me today, and I'm going to hand on to the next apprentice.
Hi everyone, I'm Natalie. I'm a Google software engineering apprentice. So I've actually done both routes. I did my degree first, and now I'm completely career changing with this apprenticeship. So back when I was at school, I went to an all-girls school where they didn't do computer science. There, was barely IT, to be honest. And software engineering really wasn't on my radar at that point. I don't think I'd even seen a female software engineer on TV. So it's really true when they say you can't be what you can't see. So when I left school, I made my decisions on my next steps based on what I had seen at that time. So I decided to go to medical school and train to be a doctor. And so I went to the University of Nottingham. I studied medicine, I got my degree. And then I decided, actually, I don't really want to do this. It's not really me. I'm not really enjoying it, and that's okay. So I decided to set about finding what I did like. I tried lots of different jobs, and I learned a lot about myself in the process, which is the most important thing. I mean, if nothing else in life, I think you just have to learn about who you are as a person and then go be that person. So that's what I tried to do. And in the process, I also found out that I'm autistic, which is awesome because that meant I had so much more information about what I'm good at and what I'm not so good at. And then I could channel all of that into deciding what I wanted to do. So with all of that in mind, about a year and a half ago, I tried a couple of free coding courses. And I just absolutely loved it straight away. I loved the logic and the creativity. You know, it's really rewarding because you're creating stuff that can help people and you're solving problems all the time. And so that was it for me. I decided I wanted to pursue software engineering as a career. And I decided to do an apprenticeship as my route to that career because I guess I didn't want to go back to university. I certainly didn't want any more student loan. A bit like Connor said, I wanted to earn while I was learning. And I guess software engineering is a really practical skill as well. So I felt that learning on the job would really suit it. So I applied for the Google program because, I mean, where better can you get training for software engineering than Google? And I went through the process that Hamish spoke about. And then finally got the call saying that I was successful, which was amazing. And I started in September. We started with a boot camp process through a company called Makers, where we kind of leveled up so people like myself who didn't have quite as much experience could come up to speed before we started with Google. And that process finished in just the first week of this year. And so for the last couple of weeks, I've joined my team at Google. So I get to go to the really awesome Google office in London. I'm working with the Google Play team, and I'm just about to start my first project. So they're giving me lots of training at the moment and all the tools and things that I'll need for that project. And so that's my story. I'm happy to answer questions later, but for now, I'll hand you on to Rebecca.
Hi guys, so as you know, I'm Rebecca and I'm doing the same as Connor, the level 3 digital business apprenticeship, which is still basically digital marketing, but with a data technician qualification. And I work within the brand and reputation marketing team, which in a nutshell focuses on like how Google's perceived and our role as a company. So to share a little bit about my journey before Google, after sixth form, I actually did go to uni and I studied politics and international relations with quantitative research. And immediately after graduation, I started working full time at Harvey Nichols. And my plan was to only stay there for a year until I had a little bit more clarity about where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do career wise, because I had passions, I had interests that I had garnered during my university experience, but I wasn't interested in going straight into a graduate role just simply because of the intensity of my degree. So I thought, let me take a year, chill. Didn't end up chilling because I was working full time, but was making money anyways. So just before I applied for this apprenticeship, I was having like discussions with like my friends and my family about what I actually wanted to do, what I felt like I was good at, what experience I'd like to gain. And there was just this consistent emphasis on digital marketing and a role within social media, especially as I had like done the module about social media and participatory culture during university. So I started looking for internships and I said, let me think about the best kind of avenue into a field that I was interested in, knowing that I had limited experience. So when I came across the Google application, I was happy to see that it was open to graduates because generally I know that the belief is apprenticeships are solely for school leavers or people that are leaving sixth form and don't want to go to uni. And that was like my experience with it. During school, I only knew 3 people actually that did an apprenticeship. Everyone else went to uni or just didn't. So yeah, to talk a bit about the experience of the application process, I'll be honest, I had like imposter syndrome. When I saw the application, I thought, wow, Google, that's big. Like, am I going to be good enough? Which is, looking back, is a wild thing to even be thinking about before you like write your name on an application form. But I told myself, you know what, just go for it and see what happens. Worst case, you don't get it. It's fine. So especially because I had applied for a digital marketing apprenticeship prior, got to the final stage, was told someone else, between me and another person, someone else had better experience, thought that defeated the purpose of an apprenticeship, but left it at that. Fortunately, it was blessing in disguise, because then I ended up at Google after. And just thinking about my thought process through the application, it was quite intense. It was, yeah, I'll be real, it was quite intense, but every stage was completely worth it. Hamish has mentioned like the structure of it, and Connor and Natalie have spoken about it. And there's a lot of stages, but I think my thought, how I was like approaching it, was just making sure that I came like how I wanted this job was going to come across. So I knew that it was what I wanted. I knew it was going to be an incredible learning experience for me, and I needed to showcase that at every stage. So it was important that every interviewer I spoke to could physically see and get a feel that I was passionate about digital marketing, and also a good fit for Google culture-wise. And it's been an amazing experience already. We've only been here for 4 months, and so much has happened. I can see how my confidence has grown, the opportunities I've had and opportunities that are still coming, the community aspect, like many other perks. And don't get me wrong, at times I still get a bit anxious, and I can feel that imposter syndrome kind of sneaking back in. And I think, oh, how did I end up here with all these great minds? But then you have to remind yourself that to get there, you must have something good too. So that's been a challenge that I'd say I've been facing. But the environment at Google, and I've heard like environments at other apprenticeships that other people I know have done, encourages you daily to just try to be the best version of yourself. Don't give in to fear. So I'd kind of end just saying, with like, think about, for anyone who's thinking, for you guys who are thinking about life after school, just put yourself out there. Don't shoot down any great opportunities. Even if you don't think you have what it takes, try it and find out.
Lovely, thank you guys, that was super insightful. So we have had quite a few questions come through. If you guys do have any more questions, then please just pop them in the chat box and we will try and get through as many as we can. So Hamish, I'm going to start off with a couple for you, because there's been quite a few logistical questions. So first off, a couple of people asked if you offer any work experience or internships at Google.
I know we do internship programs, but I'm not 100% sure about work experience. The best place to look at all of our kind of entry level career things is buildyourfuture.withgoogle.com. That's got all of our kind of entry level and early talent stuff on there. So that would be the best place to look.
Perfect. Somebody asked, what do you look for in apprentices when you're recruiting? So like the skills and things, what is your criteria?
I can't talk so much about kind of like the exact criteria that we're using, but as a general rule of thumb, like as I mentioned, it's a learning and development program, so you have to be wanting to learn and develop yourself. And I think the other thing is have a passion for what you're applying for. Like, don't just be like, oh, I'll apply for the software engineering program because I want to work at Google. No, like you have to be able to tell us why do you want to come and do software engineering, and why specifically do you want to come and do it here, as opposed to kind of, there's lots of other great companies out there that have software engineering programs that are amazing. Why specifically our program, and why specifically Google?
And then there's been a couple of questions about location. So the first one is it possible to do an apprenticeship remotely or from home some days? So
all apprentices kind of join and get access to our hybrid working model. So we're in the office about 3 days a week, but you do have to be in the office 3 days a week, and that is in our London office. So we do expect you to be within a commutable distance to London. So yeah, that's the one thing that we would bear in mind.
And that leads on quite nicely to the next question. Are all of these roles only based in London? Do you have anything in the Northwest?
We don't have anything in the Northwest. We have had apprentices relocate from the Northwest to join the opportunities, and then we've had people post-program relocate back to the Northwest to kind of pursue further opportunities. So yeah.
And then I'll give you one more, and then I'll do some apprentice ones, then go back to you. How oversubscribed are apprenticeships in terms of applicants to places ratio? So I guess how many places are you sort of looking to fill?
It can vary every year, to be completely honest. So I don't know kind of exactly how many roles we'll have available. Applications are opening. It should be 5th of December, not 5th of December, 5th of February, sorry. But they should be opening National Apprenticeships Week, which is next week. So yeah, keep an eye out on our socials, on our LinkedIn, Twitter, all sorts of stuff like that. We'll be doing lots of work with the DFE and apprenticeships as well. So keep an eye open.
Right. And then I'll give this one to Natalie. What has been your most enjoyable experience at Google so far?
Ooh. I mean, it's quite a lot. So I think probably the people for me have been the best bit, because it's like finding your tribe. Like, you know, that it's like meeting lots of versions of myself, which is I've never had before. Everyone's really helpful and everyone's really friendly and everyone's really like passionate about what they do and they're all really excited about what they do. So it's just a really fun place to work. I think that's probably been the best bit so far.
Right. And then Connor, somebody's asked a question about the application process, which I know you can't go into it too much, but sorry, I've lost the question. What is one tip that you would give to students for the application process?
So one tip that I'd give to students for the application process is, I know this is like very cliche, but just be yourself. So Google look for unique traits in your personality, and if you're like not showcasing the best version of yourself, then you'll kind of blend in with the rest of the applicants. I would also say kind of keep up to date with current market trends and like current industry trends. So for example, if you've got a LinkedIn, then join communities on LinkedIn. And if you kind of just like keep up to date on research and stuff, then your knowledge will be or should be sufficient for kind of what you're asked. And obviously, like Hamish said, don't apply for anything if you don't like see yourself doing that. But yeah, I would say 100% just be yourself. I think Google can kind of see who you are if you allow them to. So.
Right. And then Rebecca, I've got one for you. What was this? How was the social climate, so I guess the environment, when joining Google after studying?
Oh, I saw that question and I was like, oh, that's a tough one. To be honest, I would say I was more nervous before than the actual experience. I was thinking, oh, everyone's going to be like 18, 19, or 17, 18. But I can only speak about my experience at Google. I would say it's fine. Like especially we're quite lucky. The age range is quite good. So the youngest person is probably like 18 and there's people that are like 27, 28, 30. So yeah, the social climate has been fine. Regardless of age, I think everyone is nervous. So you start off on the same kind of footing and people are just open to like helping each other. We're all realizing that we're experiencing the same things at the same time. So yeah, I'd say it's really encouraging. And firstly, you have to be like a nice person to get into Google. So that's allowed for like good relationships to be built and like a good environment and good feeling, if that helps.
Great, thank you. And then Hamish, I'll pass this one back to you. Are there any apprenticeships for those passionate in English-based subjects?
Not currently. As I mentioned, we kind of have this to invest in tech skills. So yeah, there's not currently anything kind of in the tech world that is kind of English focused.
Perfect. And what can the students, I'll pass this on back to Hamish as well. What can the students do to increase their chances of being selected? I don't know how much you can say on that one, but
I think I can just kind of give general advice, and I think these guys have already said it, but like, be yourself and know why you want to do an apprenticeship, why you want to kind of go on that specific program, and know why you want to kind of come to Google to do it, and what are we going to offer you that's going to be different from some of the amazing other employers out there in this industry or in adjacent industries as well. So yeah.
Perfect. And then I'll give this one to all three of you if you want to go one at a time, maybe in the order that you spoke, because you're doing different programs. How many stages are there in your particular apprenticeship program, and which has been your most enjoyable so far? So Connor, I don't know if you want to start with that one.
In terms of stages, what's meant by stages? In terms of like,
I think they mean the different areas of learning, if there's different topics. I don't know how it works exactly, but if you do have different topics, or which part has been the best thing that you've learned about so far, I guess.
so we learn a lot about different types of data, which is like the main thing, because we're obviously doing a data technician standard. And obviously there's like, so for example, I've learned about, I don't know, business etiquette, I've learned about data, I've learned about like loads of different things. I don't want to be too specific, but my favorite thing so far is probably learning about data, just because it's something that I never thought that I would be able to do to a good standard, and it's very complicated to learn about, but to see yourself kind of picking up and getting the hang of it, and also what you do affects real people, like real clients, and to see that effect is quite surreal when you work for such a big company, because you think, oh, that could just very easily get lost, but it doesn't. It's, you know, something that's really happening in front of you, so it's quite rewarding, I'd say.
Great. And Natalie, what's the most enjoyable part for you so far?
So I'm still quite early on, so I've only really done the bootcamp phase so far, but that was really fun. And that was great because we also got to meet lots of apprentices from other companies as well. And we got to learn kind of like the basics of coding. We learned a couple of different languages, so we could learn the overall kind of overarching structures within code, so that we have the skills to then pick up whatever language we need when we're working for our team at Google. So then the next phase, which is what I've just started now, is like a portfolio kind of phase where we're doing projects with our team, and then collecting that work as like an evidence portfolio so that I can be assessed on it when it comes to that phase. And then the final phase is the assessment phase, which won't be till sort of this time next year, which will involve another kind of project and also my portfolio and some interview kind of questions based on it. So yeah.
Great. And Rebecca?
I'd say, like, similar to Connor, it's definitely been learning about the data, but also seeing how I can apply it to my team, or like my day-to-day roles and responsibilities. That's probably been the most enjoyable part of the experience for me. For instance, like, I worked on a project some months ago where I was able to incorporate like some of the things we learned about business etiquette, or dealing with stakeholders, or dealing with like senior members. So I got to go on like a work trip, which was really cool. I've never like been able to do something like that before, and just seeing how, you know, I could relate the actual learnings from the apprenticeship to actual projects, like that kind of like that journey. That's been really cool for me.
Great. Well, thank you guys. We've actually come to the end of this webinar now, but thank you, Hamish and the team, for doing this tonight, and thank you all for taking the time out of your evening to attend. And hopefully you'll get to meet the team at Google very soon. But yeah, thank you.